program here from Bing Pulse. Bing has sponsored Wi-Fi in here, so you can all hop on the Wi-Fi network. It's Bing Pulse. Password is Bing Pulse, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
No promotion in that.
And first I'm going to introduce Chelsea Feldman, who's going to explain to you what we're going to be doing with Bing Pulse and with this panel, which I'm really excited for. I've interviewed a number of these panelists over the last 2 days. Very looking forward to hearing this. And then after that, we're going to turn it over to Heidi Oeste, is that how you say it? Forbes Oeste, to take it over from there. So.
Hi everybody, I'm Chelsea and I work at Microsoft with Bing Pulse. So we are a new audience response web application, and we've been working with various sessions in the Living in Digital Times, and we're really excited to be doing the Wearables for Women session. So what we're doing today is we're actually going to invite all of you to join the panel in voicing your opinion, and we're going to ask you a question, and that is, do you think women will be using the technology being discussed right now? And we want you to respond in real time. You can respond as often as every 5 seconds, and you'll see the results on that screen right there. And we want to hear what you have to say, if you agree, disagree with the panelists, and bring your voice into the conversation. We'll also ask you guys a couple of poll questions. Whenever the panelists say something interesting and we want to hear what you think, or if they have a question for the audience, that's how we'll be reaching out to you. So what you can do is you can go to pulse.bing.com/FT2. So it's pulse.bing.com/FT2, fitness or FamilyTech 2, and that's how you'll be able to vote. Nothing to download, and yeah, we look forward to hearing what you guys think.
Thank you, and love the beanie. Check out the beanie. Isn't this fabulous? It's got headphones built right in.
I was not told I was going to be modeling today.
I know. Well, my hair was done. I had to go away. So, it's a Kaseko beanie. You can go check them out. So, I think we're actually, should I one mic? I think that's yours, and I can use this one. We good?
It's a spare one.
It's a spare one. Oh, okay. Well, I'll give that to you. We don't get it back. So my background is wearables and presence. I am doing my doctoral dissertation looking at how wearable technologies can impact our presence of mind and self-awareness, and how that translates into how we engage with other people. Am I beeping? This is what's giving me feedback.
Oh, that's cool.
This is my wearable, but it wasn't supposed to give feedback. It was supposed to just... Isn't this fabulous? This is on loan to me, and it's actually hand-painted, and it responds to my voice. So if I get mad, it'll probably get really lit up. Anyway, so my research is really looking at the outcomes of use of wearables, and mostly in the wellness space, but there's other things that have been integrated into it as well, whether it's Ringly, for example, that tracks, or not tracks, but notifies you when your phone is ringing, because my phone's nowhere to be seen, but at least I know if I missed a call. So anyway, there's lots of interesting things happening in the wearable space, and I want to just give you a little bit of sort of foreshadowing on some of the trends happening in this space, particularly if you look at what I'm wearing. May have already seen the Misfit Shine that is now collaborating with Swarovski crystals. They're doing a beautiful job making it just beautiful jewelry that you want to wear, whether it's working or not, right? Same thing with the Ringly, integrating fun things. I've actually got a tracker on me somewhere, I can't even remember where I put it on, which is tracking my breathing and making sure that I'm calm. So it's being, am I being calm? It's becoming much more interwoven and embedded into our lives, whether we see it in fabric. I don't know if any of you were at the fashion show earlier, but you see a lot of things being woven right into the fabrics. Function in terms of health and communication, and conducting energy. In fun, entertainment, like this, and communication and game building, using things that can actually connect people in different ways, more integrated into our daily routines. Something that I think we all noticed when wearables first came out, they were very large and chunky, and just like when cell phones first came out, I don't know if anybody remembers carrying around in a suitcase, but they weren't very attractive, and now we complain about something that's a little bit too big for our back pocket. So things have evolved and become just interwoven in our lives. And hopefully now we're spending much more time on design thinking that's really user-based, and rather than just looking at gadgets, but creating things that actually have women in mind and the end users in mind. And my favorite area, outcomes, looking at health and ways that we can tackle real issues, things like diabetes, obesity, depression, pain prevention, and approaches for independence for young people and for old. So trackers for small children, or as we'll hear about a little bit later, things that can let us know when our children are getting too hot, or they're in the wrong environment, or for older people that may need assistance, and it's evolved from the I've fallen and I can't get up to far more sophisticated tools that we can use that are integrated into the wearables. Communication, balance, and empowerment, so greater awareness of self and others. In terms of function, it's really play, alert, sensory, health tracking, and wellness programs. I don't know if any of you in your organizations are starting to see fitness trackers and other wearables being integrated into the wellness programs. So very exciting. And finally, into the trends, looking at ways that we can use them more easily instead of having to charge them every night, for example, finding ways to power them, like the Misfit, where they're using solar energy or kinetic energy in other cases. Lower energy Bluetooth, so that the connections are happening more easily. The size and function, for example, Ringly again, passive command and capture integrated into biometrics. There's a great new device, talking about wearables for women, coming out from Oh My Bod, it's called Blue Motion, that uses your biometrics. This is a wearable vibrator. I've been using it in my study for women who suffer from hormone-related depression. It's fascinating to see the results. So it's not just about fun, but it's also about the outcomes. And being able to use the functions of your body to really generate the good signals that help us improve and sort of tweak our ultimate selves is fascinating. The format, again, integrated into fabric and into the body, looking at things like the studies that are happening in Illinois, where they're creating sensors that are integrated into tattoos and Band-Aid-like things or removable tattoos. So they're becoming more and more discrete and integrated into ourselves. A focus on function and integrated apps that make it much easier for us to use them and make it much easier to engage with others, so greater collaboration. So this stage is key for developing comfort between humans and tech. Think about those first cell phones again. So be patient when you're looking at some of these devices that may be big, because the future is not far away, and this is just alpha. And we're going to see some very exciting things coming in the near term. So with that, I would like to go to my panel and let them tell you a little bit about each of the work that they're doing, and then we'll have a lively discussion. So please, David.
My name is Davide Vigano. I'm co-founder of Sensoria. The vision of the company is that the garment is the next ultra-personal computer. So it's very much in line with what we were discussing so far. We want the electronics, the plasticky part, to disappear to the human eye and just be woven or knitted into whatever we wear. We have an application at our booth. I welcome you to come and see it. But we actually connect multiple garments in real time. Right now I'm actually connecting socks that can measure gait, not just activity, and they can compare shoes. So I can actually set up my own virtual shoe closet, and then I can compare how well I run with those shoes. So am I off cadence? Am I heel striking more? Am I faster with the shoes, right? And we can also connect, which I'm not wearing, a sports bra that actually detects heart rate monitoring. It's made in Italy and designed in Italy. It is compliant with the only standards that there are in the industry. We interviewed a lot of women, and straps are very uncomfortable for obvious anatomical reasons, even for men, of course. So we actually connect a traditional heart rate monitor to the garment itself, so people can just disconnect the heart rate monitor from the strap, throw away the strap, and just wear an elegant, totally seamless, no seam, no chafing garment that looks good, and connect those together to have a very, very, very rich experience. So that's what we do.
Fabulous. I could even wear that underneath this.
Yep, please do.
Hey, my name is Merle Freeman. I'm the entrepreneur, first-time entrepreneur founder of Safe Family Wearables, and I would like to turn it over to my Chief Marketing Officer, who will tell you about the company.
Hi, I'm Jen Lazarus with Safe Family Wearables. In July, Merle came to me after hearing the news of a child dying in a hot car, and she said, you know, Jen, we really need to build a device that helps prevent children from being in extreme weather circumstances, i.e. being left in a hot car. So as we thought about what kind of product that would be, we came up with the Paxi Band. And what the Paxi Band does is we thought, well, if we're going to be measuring temperature, it'd be ambient temperature within the device, we said, you know, why don't we throw a GPS tracker in there? So we're able to also track GPS location of the children, boundary setting, location tagging, and then we thought, well, let's add a heart rate monitor into it as well. And then while we're at it, we'll manage activity tracker, so it's a full family management. As you can imagine, with those components, it became almost cumbersome, and we found with a lot of kids' wearables, they were starting to look like very clunky watches, and we wanted to make something more innovative. So we've used an antenna where we're able to go around the band, and we wanted to make it more fashion-friendly for moms so that it's not a battle for them to keep track of their kids. And what we did is we created customizable fashion covers that are interchangeable. So I have an argyle one here and a camo one here. The kids can personalize it, and we feel that it keeps families safe. And SAFE stands for Security Application for Everyone.
My name is Ariel Garten. I'm the CEO of Muse. We create this device. This is Muse, the brain sensing headband. So we've heard a lot about wearables that track your steps or track your sleep, but it's really what goes on in your brain that determines everything about your life. So Muse lets you track your brain activity in real time on your smartphone or tablet, gives you exercises to help you improve your cognitive function, your attention, your working memory, and decrease your stress. Muse is actually a consumer product on the market now. You can buy it in Best Buy Canada, you can buy it at Amazon.com in the United States, moving to Asia and Europe. And we have tens of thousands of users who use it regularly to help them improve their mind and improve their life.
I'm actually the founder of a company called HearNotes Inc., which is setting out to pioneer the next stage of portable audio evolution. Although at first blush it probably does not seem like it's going to save anybody's lives or necessarily do anything as impactful as what we're noticing here. One thing that did definitely strike me as a way to tie in everything that we're talking about is because we're using a technology superior to Bluetooth, and we're to an extent taking a leap of faith that the public will eventually accept that there was something that was built for music streaming, and that ultimately, because it's solving a problem in a way that finally gets the job done without being lazy, we think that it is something that ultimately can be used as a beacon to push the industry in general forward. But my point in saying that was, well, one, with your shirt, if the company doesn't work out, I can think of like 5 different things that we might be able to do with that blinking sounding thing with your shirt, because that is really interesting. But when you come back to the music streaming, you got the therapeutic value of music. And I don't know what the effect is on brain waves, but I know that there's clearly a correlation between people trying to reduce stress by listening to music and obviously the effect on reducing stress. So given that we're using something that is trying to do that in the most conducive way possible, I think that that's certainly a step forward in the right direction to do our part to make people's lives a little bit more enjoyable.
Could all use that.
Hi, I'm Karina Standiford. I'm with a company called Narrative. I head up communications there. Narrative is this wearable camera device. It takes a photo every 30 seconds as you're wearing it. The reason behind the camera is our CEO had lost both of his parents to cancer, and he really wanted to create something that captured life's moments and those unique and candid moments that you don't normally get when you're taking a photo just outright with your camera. So I find it super interesting and helpful for me to wear it when I'm traveling or with my girlfriends or my husband, and it really captures those moments that you wouldn't necessarily get otherwise and lets you stay in the moment and really live your life instead of having something in front of your face at all times. We have an app with it as well that you can look at your photos after you've taken it, after you've uploaded it from the camera, so then you can share them and save them to your camera roll as well.
Great. Sounds like some really exciting things. This beeping is driving me crazy. It's not driving everyone else crazy. No, I think one of the things that as you were going online, and Patrick, you had mentioned, well, I don't know where mine really affects quality of life. And actually, in my earlier stage of life, I looked very much into musical therapy, and I was thinking, oh, he should be talking to Ariel. You guys could be doing some very interesting things with, particularly with the process where you're doing the app and the training and the focus, because doesn't yours connect by Bluetooth and yours does not? So at least they wouldn't interfere with the signals. Is that correct?
This says, yeah, it's Bluetooth.
No, I meant with Patrick, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Can it also be, can you have your device connected to a phone that also is connected to Bluetooth?
Absolutely.
So simultaneously.
So there'd be a way to transmit the audio or the music, and then a way to measure whatever's happening in the body or the brain at the same time.
Because I think that's something that comes up a lot, as mothers and as women, and I guess men too. You tend to have a lot of different things that are all trying to be connected at the same time, and our phones can only handle so much, and so they have to prioritize. So it's interesting to think that, how do we handle that next stage of evolution where you may have more than one device, and how is that all going to work? What I would like to do, because I think did you want to do a poll question?
Yeah, we can do a poll to the audience.
Okay.
What would you like to ask them?
Well, you had one set up.
How people would most likely use their wearable?
Okay, so there was, I think, 4 different options.
Yes, so we're going to send a poll question. Again, the URL is pulse.bing.com/FT2 if you want to respond. So we're going to ask you what you would most likely use your wearable for. So what kind of function would you use it for?
And you had, what was it? So function?
Yeah, so we'll ask function, fitness,
Fun was one.
fun, yeah.
We'll come up with the other one, but I think you can see it when you go onto your thing.
Safety.
Safety's a good one, yes. But that's in function, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, fashion.
Yeah.
Of course, fashion. Fashion, what was I thinking? So I think one of the things that's been interesting to think of, and particularly in the terms of women in wearables, is creating things that work for the women's body, or whether they work for the women's body or for the women's needs, I should say. So in some cases, so for Ariel, I think it's fascinating to see the whole thing with focus. And, as a mother, I can contest to the fact that my mind is usually going 20 different directions and trying to make sure that everybody's going to the right places and that I land in the right place. Can you talk a little bit about that and your thoughts about where Muse or your development has considered that?
Absolutely. So for us, my secret is that I built the device for women to help them manage their own mind. One of the big issues that we have as women is wanting to do everything and be perfectionists. And we have this little voice inside our heads. I see people smiling, women smiling. When I say this, we have this little voice inside our heads that says, oh, you should have done better. Oh, that wasn't perfect. Oh, you could have been more. And it's that little voice that gets in the way of us being happy in our own bodies, that gets in the way of us being confident in ourselves, that decreases our self-esteem. And when you shut down that voice, you are able to live a healthier, happier, calmer, and more successful life. You're able to actually come into your own successes. So with Muse, what you learn to do is shut down that voice. It's a tool that teaches you that you don't have to go down that little spiral, that you can take your brain somewhere else. And you, sometimes for the very first time, can have dominion over your own brain, where it goes and what it thinks about. So it's critical to help us live happier, healthier lives in our own minds.
Thank you. I think maybe we can just go down the whole line and sort of just hear a little bit of how you see your devices fitting into women's lives, because I think each of you has something interesting to contribute to that piece. Does anybody want to start?
I mean, we were at Fashion Week last year, right before New York Fashion Week, the week before, and it was fascinating to see how designers actually think in the opposite way compared to geeks, right? The geek side of us, most of us, think about how to make things happen. And the designers are less interested in how things work and more interested in how they look and how they feel and how they communicate and express ourselves to others around us, right? They don't really care about how they get there. They really care about how the experience of the person wearing and the person looking at the person wearing is going to benefit eventually the person and the people around them. So I think it would be fantastic actually to organize a hackathon of developers and designers together, because their brain actually works in a very different way, right? And they come from different directions. So one of the things that we learned actually was to create a multidisciplinary team where we have designers and textile materials engineers working with the traditional software engineers and electronic engineers and signal processing math maniacs. And I can tell you, it's like, for 3 months, it was like they speak different languages. And then after 3 months, they actually start solving each other's problems, right? Because they come from different perspectives. But anyway, that's a long story. Yep.
Absolutely.
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 So how it fits into women's lives for us is, I'm a mom, as I'm sure many of you are, and as a parent, when I became a mom, this mama bear instinct came out to protect my child, and I feel like that happens to most women, and you're not really sure what to do with it, and you don't want to leave your child, but circumstances require that. So having a device where you can check in, see where your child is at all times, is useful. It's very useful. But at the same time, when I was expecting, my husband is really the techie in our family, and he's the person who did all of the research on, what baby monitor we have, what stroller, what's the best. And oftentimes what he would pick, I would think were just ugly. They're not fun. They're not fashionable. And if there's one thing I like to do, it's shop. And I think, most women are like that, and they want something that's fashionable for their children, but that also meets that mama bear instinct to know exactly where they are.
So to just follow up with a quick story, since I spoke earlier, there was a woman who I met the other day, and she had extreme stress and anxiety before using Muse. She talked about the big stick that she would beat herself up with, and after using Muse, she said, I could put down that stick, and I no longer needed to beat myself up. There's another woman that I was talking to recently. Her name was Rachel, and she was in the park with her kid. Her kid's 2.5 years old. He was playing in the park, and she realized that she was thinking about dinner. She was thinking about other things she had to do, and this was like the most precious moment in her life, and her mind was not there. And through using Muse, she could recognize that her brain was elsewhere, and she could also say, for the first time, I can bring it back and focus on my kid in the park. There's example after example of that, of times where managing your own mental state led to greater happiness.
Well, I think the first thing to mention is that when it comes to the wire-free earbuds that were developed by our company, even though I conceptualized it as a man, the team of people that put it together ultimately, including and especially the co-founder, is a woman. And I intuitively knew before beginning the project that it was going to have to kind of harness this technology that really was designed to allow people to be mobile and active and work out and run, jump, and all that stuff without having to worry about any wires getting in the way, and of course still preserving and protecting that sound and that seamless experience. But I also knew that once we did that, it still had to be something that a woman would feel comfortable wearing in front of her friends and her family. And of course, I don't think it's that much different for a man, although probably a little less discerning, but especially for women. So it also had to be a design that both men and women could wear at the same time. So I definitely had to kind of relinquish some of that control and that creative direction to her, and I think that she's done a really good job. And I guess again, this is our first product. We're a new company, so give us some time, hopefully, to really build on this. But in the short term, I think it would be outstanding if even a small percentage of people that would have otherwise not, maybe exercised because they're just frustrated with the tangled wired experience, or a sound quality latency issue using Bluetooth at a crowded gym. If maybe just a small percentage of people that say, you know what, there's really no reason for me not to go to the gym because I can tune everything out, I can relax, or I can go for a run and really just have that be a non-issue, and it's that extra degree that pushes them to take care of themselves. That would be something I would be very proud of in the short term.
You can't do yoga with a wire.
Messes up that Zen thing, for sure.
That's the Zen thing. Corinne?
Yeah, for narrative, we all take photos every day. We all love to capture those moments, and I really find this helpful because it can let me stay in that moment and not be distracted with what I'm doing. We see a lot of moms use this, so they're with their kids are playing, having a really fun time, doing something really unique and different. And when you take out your phone to take a photo, a lot of times the kids stop, or they put a cheesy smile on, or you get out of that moment. And so we see a lot of moms use this to really stay in the moment and capture those really silly, candid, real photos of their children. I don't have kids, but I use it a lot just with my girlfriends when I'm out walking around. It really, I've experienced more things after the fact than I have before, because I'm able to look back at the photos. You could kind of watch as a time lapse, and it kind of takes you through this moment that you had. And a lot of times you get these photos that you would never have gotten before, or you didn't even notice it because you were so distracted. As she was saying, as women, our minds are all over the place, and so it also allows you to kind of stay in that moment, and also just add some fun and excitement into your life by having that, enjoying that at a later time.
Thank you. I'm going to selfishly ask a question about mindfulness, because I think that there's something that it's a big topic right now, but it's also, I do strongly believe that wearables have the opportunity to create the space for us to be more mindful in our lives. And, with Muse, it's probably more obvious than the others, but I think that with each of them, they provide opportunities for us to be, whether it's because we're not worrying about the one thing or because we're taking better care of ourselves. Is there anything that each of you could share in that space as to where you feel that what you're developing in the wearable space can help people be more mindful rather than distracted, which is where there's sort of, technology has a reputation for distraction rather than for actually creating better quality of life for
Sure,
us.
I can start giving you an example on the running. We were mentioning running before. Science has proven that we don't know how well we run. We don't look at how well we land on the ground, right? Mm-hmm. We just go for a run because we want to think about something else, and we want to distract ourselves from our daily chores, right? Everything that we have to do. Daniel Lieberman at Harvard mentions the fact that if we run wrong, we're subject to impact forces similar to being hit by a sledgehammer 1,000 times a mile, right? Over 400 pounds every single time we touch the ground, right? That's why 65 to 80% of all people that go running in this country get injured every single year. It's medieval, right? It's like, it's 2015, and every single time, every year, almost everybody gets injured by running. So think about actually not just listening to our favorite music, but having a virtual coach interrupting that music, providing us with feedback, behavioral feedback in real time when we do something wrong, like we're off cadence and we're heel striking. We're probably wearing also the wrong kind of shoes, right? I think that's where there is no trade-off between fashion, design, and functionality. We're not using, I think, all the user experience opportunities, and audio is definitely one of them. Most people these days run with their phones and they listen to music, right? So why not use that type of capability, not just for GPS tracking and speed tracking? Most of us, we're not going to qualify for the next Olympic Games, right? Let's face it. But, getting a knee injury or an ankle injury, or I was talking to a woman athlete about 2 hours ago, and she had a very painful hip injury a stress injury by overtraining, right? I think we can do fantastic work if we can just weave and leverage textile sensing, combine it with flexible electronics and cloud services to serve the information in real time when people need it, instead of actually having a pretty dashboard, just after the fact.
We're running out of time, so if we can just, everybody can give us sort of a quick last word. Appreciate that. Thanks.
Sure.
Raina?
So one of the childhood obesity is an epidemic, and one of the things that we built was an activity tracker in the device. But in addition to that, we have an online Paxi portal, which allows both parents and children to monitor the child's activity and integrate fun activities. So if they're only getting, say, 10,000 steps a day, how do we take it to the next level?
So Muse, by definition, is a mindfulness tool. It helps you understand your own brain activity when you're focused, when you're engaged, and helps you improve your own understanding of your mind.
I think beyond what I've already said, one thing that I would be interested to look at is using binaurals and immersive audio in order to accomplish some of those similar effects on brain and getting certain brainwave states and kind of inducing that by intention through using these types of things. That'd be what I'd say.
I would just say, again, to reiterate, narrative really helps you capture those moments that matter and really lets you stay in the moment. I think, too, with the whole social media phenomenon that's, obviously going strong, is that this device lets you kind of not take the photo, post it right away, kind of stay out of that area unless you really engage with your family and friends. That is the most important part of life.
Thank you very much. I'm afraid we've run out of time, but I think
Should we wrap up with the poll results?
let's do that. And then I think hopefully everybody will stick around for a little bit. If people have questions, they can come up.
We have some
Oh, we do
time
have
for
time for questions.
Yeah.
Okay, I was looking at that timer, so I wasn't.
Back here. I'm your new moderator, by the way. You're,
For narrative, if you're wearing like a tank top or something not so high, how would you place it?
Yeah, so we actually just launched a new version this week, and the clip is going to be removable for version 2. So we're creating different accessories for users to be able to wear it for more different styles, clothing, height, and all of that. So we're still figuring that out right now, but all the accessories are going to be for wearability. So for right now, yeah, it's a little bit difficult to have it. Sometimes I put it on a hat if I'm wearing it, or I even put it on something stationary. So if I'm having friends over or something, I'll put it on my curtain or something like that, and it'll capture what's going on at that time. So yeah, it's one of the things we're really working on is the more versatile wearing options.
Again, to you, you would think that every 30 seconds would be enough picture grabs, but as a former photographer, you can miss a moment in seconds. So is there a manual trigger?
Yeah, so we also with version 2, we have enabled Bluetooth with it, so your phone is going to kind of act as a remote control to control the camera. So we're looking at different intervals for timing for that, and that's one thing that we're going to be able to adjust in the coming version.
How do you take a selfie with it?
You double tap it and take the photo.
There seems to be this trend to cover wearables for women in crystals and to make them pretty and to make them a piece of jewelry. Otherwise, women won't care about data. What do you think about that? Wouldn't they probably wear it even if it weren't a piece of jewelry but actually provided something useful enough to them?
Yeah, so we did extensive user testing in creating this device, and where we ended up in our user testing is not that the thing needed to be pink and covered in crystals. It needed to be comfortable, it needed to fit into your daily life, it needed to fit into your routine and fit on your head. The one sort of exception for women is we tried a number of different things, some that went all the way around the head, and they preferred a style like this because it didn't interfere with hair. So it didn't mess your hairstyle, but that was far more important than being blingy, that it had to be comfortable and fit into your life.
I think if I can add, it would be fantastic to actually work with the sports and apparel industry to actually design lines that are actually in line with any occasion, right? So think about not just in the sports and fitness area, but think about any type of occasion, right? So it would be cool to actually have a quantified experience of us all day long, regardless of what we do. So I think women are actually particularly interested in actually looking great or being comfortable with themselves, regardless of where they are and what they do. So I think it's more of a line. That's why I think there is an opportunity to work with the design industry and with the fashion industry, and it doesn't have to be crystal, right? In fact, most of us, most of the day, don't wear, fancy or very, very visible jewelry, right? So that's, I think, is a good question there.
To kind of elaborate on what you guys responded to our poll question with, you actually didn't really seem to incorporate fashion as your primary decision maker in whether to buy a wearable. Function and fitness were actually the two most important factors for the audience's combined response, so it really ties into what the panel's saying.
For Jennifer, so what is the age limit for kids to wear that wristband? Because at a certain point, they will understand that they're being tracked. If they want to do something naughty, they will reject the band, or maybe some of the other kids say, oh, that's cool, give it to me. Like, pff.
Sure. So the device starts, to answer your first question, the device starts for 18 months, and it's in 3 sizes that go up to 12 years, based on average wrist diameter. However, and we understand your concern. So the device requires 2 hands to remove the device. So a child could not just remove their own device without the help of someone else. The second part of that is if the band is removed, the parent is alerted that the band has been removed and is aware of the child's GPS location. Our philosophy isn't, this is, big brother or mommy spying on you. This is helping mom let you be a kid and go out and have fun versus, being limited to a certain area.
And what about energy? How long does the battery last?
It's a 36-hour lithium-ion rechargeable battery.
Thank you.
What about safety? Every major cell phone study I've read is designed in a very flawed way that makes it look a lot safer than it is. For instance, the big Denmark study showed kids that are heavy users, they said any kid that makes or receives 1 phone call per week is a heavy user, as opposed to defining it by saying, here's the top 5% of heavy users. Are they correlated to tumors and such? So I'd be curious to hear what you think about safety of these devices, especially on kids.
So, we feel that our device actually helps kids stay safe, right? As far as the technology and whether it causes tumors and cancer, I cannot personally answer that question at this time. Our Chief Technology Officer is in the back of the room, and I'm sure he'd be happy to entertain your question.
Well, thank you very much to my panelists. You guys are amazing, and I'm really excited to see where your products are evolving. I want to just share one quick story about Muse, if it's okay. We're using the Muse in our study, and this is just from a mom's perspective. I tested it on my kids. Okay, I told Ariel the story earlier, who are 12 and 14, and we discovered that they enjoyed it so much that they became competitive about it, and sort of became this competitive mindfulness in our household of who could be more focused. And so I think that there's opportunities through play to learn how to really adapt to these devices and to become better people and to really introduce them into our lives in a way that improves everyone around us. So I look forward to seeing how they evolve, and thank you very much for sharing your time with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.